wanted to ask you, to what extent do you believe Broadview Heights should be involved in regionalism or sharing services? The city planned to use a new Cuyahoga County Emergency Operations Center to dispatch its safety forces. Now that that's fallen through, what should the city do for dispatch?
My understanding with the Cuyahoga County Emergency Operations Center that was supposed to be located in Broadview Heights was a partnership between the city and the county. It would result in a number of new jobs coming to the city. It would also result in additional services being provided to the city at little to no cost. It would also provide for police and fire radios, which my understanding is those are sorely over need. There's an extreme need for those types of things. I believe a partnership is still a possibility. However, if the county decides they're not going to build a building, it is imperative for them to at least keep up with some sort of an arrangement that creates that continuity among the city and the county. Again, emergency services, we have our police, we have our local fire. We know that they have to stay in constant communication with each other. Help us out with the radios, because that was promised as part of the deal. My understanding is the city was also working on creating a partnership with either the Beechwood Center or one of the other ones.
Yeah, I was saddened to hear that that deal fell apart. It seemed like a great idea for everybody involved, and it sounded like a very positive thing for the city. So really kind of a bummer, if you will, that it didn't happen. Moving forward now, I mean, we should obviously explore sharing services with other cities or counties in the area. It just makes sense financially. You can defray costs across the board, that type of thing. But honestly, if we can't find a situation that works great for us, then we stay on our own and we handle it in-house like we have in the past.
Mr. Goodwin.
Well, you really hit a sore spot there. It was during my administration as mayor, we had started initiative contact with the county and had worked towards making that happen. The county being very slow to react took a number of years to be, but rightly so, a very expensive proposition for them to come up with, greater than $15 million to build a facility. It would have been very beneficial, certainly for the city, between the expense of dispatch and those employees, the income tax wages that we received off that. But at this point, it's fallen through. I recently spoke with Jack Schron, who is our Cuyahoga County Council's representative, and he feels that he can take the lemons and turn it into lemonade, was his quote. And I hope that he does that, because economically it would have been one of the best things that probably could have happened for our community, since we spend over $135,000 annually on our dispatch expenses, plus the income that would have come in from those wages. And we don't have, couldn't build a tax base big enough, I think, in these days to account for what we would have gotten out of that. That's just one facet, though, but what we really have to work is with not only just the dispatch, and we have to make that happen in the future, but we also need to work with all of our other services to make, share those services, but still keeping our individual footprint. So.
Although we're not getting the center, which would have offered, great training opportunities as well, we do what I will call mini regionalism. We do work with our local cities and communities around us, and we do share facilities, not necessarily facilities, but services. If they need us out for a run, we will go there. So we are doing that already, just not at a larger scale. I know some communities will even share a police chief or a fire chief that will kind of rule or organize over 2 different communities, or even 3. That can be a safe savings to a community as well. But that would, be council and the administration working together to do something like that. But we recently passed a fire levy, so we've been able to make sure all of our service and safety forces are equipped with technology and gear and things that they do need. And just this past month, we've heard both of our service safety people coming up with grants that they're writing or receiving. So we are moving in the positive direction despite this.
Sure. Mr. Price?
Regionalism is something that's bantered around, and who really understands it? Is it about creating a metropolitan government? Well, obviously, you've got multiple agencies that are going to fight that. Let me let everyone know that Broadview Heights is a very collaborative community. There was a call not too long ago to the north of town. You had Broadview Heights Fire Department there, Independence, Brecksville, North Royalton, and Seven Hills. You want to talk about collaboration, you couldn't have seen it any better. It's been happening for quite some time. We are a very generous community. We are open to working with other communities. We are not at all a selfish community. Doesn't mean we're a wealthy community. We do a lot with very little. So from that standpoint, I basically commend the administration and the mayor. And with all due respect to Glenn, this emergency response center was nothing compared to what was talked about in 2004, because basically we had a whole new situation in Cuyahoga County. We had a county executive come into office, and we had a council, and this was a whole new idea. Unfortunately, and I just can't help but say my personal feelings, and this is all I'm expressing. I'm not going to create a political fervor here, but this was a political football. And unfortunately, the city of Broadview Heights and its residents and its tax base basically are the result of a poor punt in that regards from the county. I will tell you that Mr. Budish disappointed a lot of people in that regards, as he did as a state rep, in regards to what he did on House Bill by not taking a stand against House Bill 278. Now, he was, part of that, so.
Well, thank you very much. Does anyone have any response?
Yeah, I do want to follow up with Joe. You're right. That's exactly what happened with that. When we initially started talks with that dispatch center, it was going to be a reasonably priced facility, and it would have been very beneficial for the city. Somehow that got away. I don't, between administration or county council itself, or the county administrator, it got away from it and became a runaway vehicle that just expanded, so it became too pricey to be able to happen. So hopefully they can come back and
Yes.
bring those costs down and still make it happen in our community, because it would be very beneficial for us. But, and also a point about Jennifer that brought up about our city services, and Joe both, that we do use joint dispatch, where we use our police and fire, our safety force, and we have for a great deal of time. At one time I was on the county Mayors and Managers Association committee where we examined regionalism, and some of those regionalism issues there, we listed all of those, and there's many different ways, like we do joint purchasing of salt supplies and many other things, and so, we're going to continue that and add to that.
Thank you. Sure.
If I could just make one final comment. I want everybody that's going to see this debate know that the city of Broadview Heights did everything it could to keep that, and there was no fault on any part of the administration or council in that regards. And I'm not currently on council, so I commend them for taking the stand that they have and the fight that they're fighting in that regard. So thank you.